Locomotion is the ability to move in a particular direction in its environment, which requires a propulsive force acting against a supporting structures. For various functions like shifting from in unfavorable conditions, to get food, to find partner, for laying eggs or giving birth, living organisms move from one place to another place. This type of movement is called locomotion. In living organism, movement is autonomic, which occurs self-sustained, whereas in non-living organism, movement is induced, which occurs by external force. Locomotion includes running, e.g., horse, ostrich; walking, e.g., cattle; jumping, e.g., baboon; somersaulting, e.g., hydra, leech; crawling, e.g., snakes; climbing, e.g., squirrel; flying, e.g., birds, butterfly, and. Some animals are sedentary, i.e., they are fixed at one place, e.g., spongers, several coelenterate, e.g., swimming, e.g., fishes, paramecium, corals, obelia, herdmania, and many echinoderms. Locomotion cannot occur without movements of body parts. Movement of body parts is performed by all organisms including plants. Animals are able to move their body parts by the movement of external body parts or internal organs. Movement of external body parts includes the movement of limbs, head, trunk, jaws, tentacles, eyeballs, pinner of the ear, to collect sound, etc. Movements of internal organs are peristalsis and peristaltic movement, movement of diaphragm, ribs, movement or uterine wall, for giving birth, etc. Smooth muscles are non-striated and involuntary muscle. These are found inside the wall of the hollow internal organs, e.g. alimentary canal, blood vessels, reproductive tract. Cardiac muscles are also striated and are not under voluntary control. These occurs exclusively in the wall of heart. Study of components, structure and functioning of muscular tissue is known as myology, sarcology. Human body has about 640 types of muscle. According to function or movement, muscles are classified into flexor, extensor, adductor, abductor, pronator, supinator, elevator, depressor, rotator, sphincter, dilator, inverter and evertor. Prime movers muscles acts most powerfully during any given movements. Flexors muscles bend one part of a limb on another. At a joint, e.g., biceps, it brings the forearm towards the upper arm. Extensor muscles extends or straightens a limb, e.g., triceps. Adductor muscles brings a limb towards the midline of the body, e.g., latissimus dorsi. Abductor muscles pulls a limb away from the midline of the body, e.g. deltoids of shoulder. Pronator muscles turns the palm downwards or backwards, e.g. pronator teres. Supinator muscles turns the palm upward or to forward, e.g. supinator. Elevator muscles rises a part of the body, egg. Masseter. Depressor muscle lower a part of the body, e.g. depressor mandibularis moves down the lower jaw to open the mouth. Pectoralis major is the depressor muscle for the wings of the birds. Rotator muscle rotates a part of the body, egg. Piriformis, which raises and rotates the thigh. Sphincter muscle decreases the size of an opening, e.g., pyloric sphincter. Dilator muscle increases the size of an opening, e.g., iris. Turn the soul inward and outwards are called inverter and evertor respectively. Synergists muscles act together to produce movement. Antagonistic muscle are those muscles which act in opposition to other muscle, e.g., the bicep muscle extended from shoulder to radius bends or flexes the arm at elbow, whereas triceps extending from ulnar to shoulder straightens the arm. Muscular system. A system of different muscles present in body specialized to perform various movements inside the body as well as its external part is called muscular system. In humans, the muscles are of three types: skeletal, smooth and cardiac muscles. Skeletal muscles are attached to the bones by tendons and help in the movement of the parts of skeleton. These muscles are under the control of conscious mind and are called voluntary muscles. Under the microscope, skeletal muscles exhibit transverse strips and hence are designated as striated muscles. Important muscles. Largest muscle, gluteus maximum, buttock. Smallest muscle, stapedius of stapes. Strongest muscle, masseters of jaws, lower. Longest, or talar, sartorius, run from the hip to muscle knee, quadriceps femoris. Boxer's muscle, serratus anterior. Striated muscle, also called skeletal muscle, are mostly attached to bones and takes part in moving them like levers. The molecular components of skeletal muscles are I. Contractile proteins, E. Enzymes, E. Fats and carbohydrates, IV. Organic phosphates, and V. Ions. Important non-protein organics are ATP, phosphocreatine, creatine, urea and glycogen. Potassium is the most abundant mineral element. In muscle, myofibrils, proteinaceous fibrils, are the contractile elements of muscle fiber. Sarcomere are the contractile units of myofibrils. Each muscle fiber is elongated and syncytial. Multinucleate. Its membrane is called sarcolemma and its cytoplasm is called sarcoplasm. Skeletal muscle fiber shows transverse striations in the form of regular alternate darker band, anisotropic, and light eye, isotropic bands. At the center of eye band, a fine dense Z-line, or Krauser's membrane, is present which divides the myofibrils into sarcomeres. Sarcomere is the area between two Z-line. H-zone is found at the center of a band and M line or Henson's line. Myosin is a major protein present in the thick filament of skeletal muscle fiber. Actin is the contractile protein of muscle present in thin filament. The myosin molecule consists of head and a tail components. The head part can form a cross bridges with actin and has contractile as well as AT-pass activity. Sliding filament theory of muscle contraction was proposed by A.F. Huxley and H.E. Huxley in 1954. According to this theory, during muscle contraction, actin filaments slide inward on the myosin filament of a band with the help of cross bridges to reduce the length of the sarcomeres. Release of calcium ions from sarcoplasmic reticulum trigger the muscle contraction process. The calcium ions result in movement of troponin and tropomyosin on their thin filaments, and this enables the myosin molecule heads to grab and swivel their way along the thin filament. This is the driving force of muscle contraction. Contraction of a muscle is caused by actomyosin, which is formed in the presence of calcium ions and energy, obtained from ATP, actin and myosin. In resting muscles, ATP combines anaerobically with creatine to form creatine phosphate. When muscle contracts, creatine phosphate breaks down to produce ATP. During muscle contraction, conversion of pyruvic acid to lactic acid proceeds anaerobically and chemical energy is changed into mechanical energy. During muscle contraction, both I and H zones progressively shorter and eventually disappear. Length of a band remains unchanged. Distance between two lines shortens and size of sarcomere decreases by 60 to 70%. Energy for contraction of muscle fiber is provided by ATP, produced by creatine phosphate and respiratory breakdown of glycogen, glucose. Biochemical and electrical changes occurring during muscle contraction were explained by Albert Sazent-Gyoji in 1942. Based upon the sarcoplasmic contents, situation of nuclei and number of formed elements, two types of fibers are recognized in striated muscle, white fiber and red fibers. White muscle fiber are fast muscle fiber which lack myoglobin and have fewer mitochondria. These muscle perform fast work for short duration, as a result of which these muscle fiber get fatigued quickly. E.g. eyeball muscle, flight muscle of sparrow. Red muscle fiber are slow muscle fiber possessing red heme protein, called myoglobin, and abundant mitochondria. These muscle can perform slow sustained work over long period without getting fatigued. E.g. extensor muscle of back and flight muscle in kites. Sharpie's fiber are calcified bundles of white and yellow fibers perforating and holding periosteal bone lamellae. Threshold stimulus is the minimum strength of stimulus required to initiate muscle contraction. Oxygen debt is the requirement of extra oxygen during recovery phase of muscle over a period of resting stage. The extra oxygen required during recovery phase is for regeneration of oxymyoglobin, restoration of depleted ATPs and CP, and oxidation of lactic acid. Cori cycle was discovered by Cori and Cori. Cori cycle is the passage of lactic acid produced in muscle into liver, where 80% of it is changed to glycogen, glucose, for continued supply to muscle. The force produced during contraction of muscle is called muscle tension. Muscle fatigue is a failure of muscle to respond to fresh stimulus after a prolonged previous activity. Muscle fatigue is caused due to accumulation of lactic acid, consumption of stored glycogen, ATP changes in neuromuscular junction which is sensitive to lactic acid. Rigor mortis is a condition in which non-availability of ATP molecules, enzymes and oxygen results in non-separation of actin and myosin filaments, leading to body stiffening after death. Refractory period is the interval during which a muscle fiber fails to respond to a second stimulus. It is 0.002-0.005 seconds in a skeletal muscle fiber and 0.1 to 0.2 seconds in a cardiac muscle fiber. A single isolated contraction of a muscle fiber in response to a single stimulus and relaxation is called muscle twitch. Latent period is the interval between the application of appropriate stimulation and contractions. It is 0.01 seconds in skeletal muscle and up to 30 seconds in visceral muscle. The duration for which the muscle remains in contracted state is called contraction period. It is 0.04 seconds in skeletal muscle and up to 20 seconds in a visceral muscle. Relaxation period is the interval required for the contracted muscle to regain its original relaxed, elongated state. It is 0.05 seconds for a skeletal muscle and 2.3 seconds for visceral muscle. The ability of muscles to get stretched is called tensility.